everybody. I'm going to be talking about vaccine mandates in the military. So, pretty much, they're bullshit. So the military, DOD specifically, was instructed by POTUS, President of the United States, to require all service members, that's all the services, Army, Navy, Marines, Coasties, Air Force, everybody, 100% across the board, regardless of circumstances, you'll get vaccinated with, mind you, an experimental vaccine. You might say, is it experimental, really? Or is it just a super good magical serum that fixes all of our problems? So a couple things on that. Number one, vaccines, any sort of drug, takes a long time, years, decades, to be tested fully. Well, not even tested fully, just to be tested enough for us to have a warm and fuzzy, so that we can feel good about having done our due diligence so as not to hurt people due to negligence. So obviously this whole, fear porn society that we're dealing with right now, everybody wants their fear porn. So the media and the government is definitely down to give that to you. So because of that, the push was to have a fantastic magical serum concocted in record time and then injected into everyone's arm so that everyone can go back to normalcy. Lots of promises along the way, that's nothing new, broken every single turn. So, has it worked, right? So, lots of people have gotten injected, lots of different percentages floating around, different states, 60% or more. Lots of places that are really high, 80%. And also different subpopulations like healthcare workers. They've made that a mandatory deal. So you've got a really high percentage of those nurses, doctors, everybody getting the vaccine. Fun fact, still get friggin' COVID, right? So, still getting COVID even though they've been vaccinated, right? Oh, but hey, Steve, it's only supposed to be, it's only supposed to stop you from getting really bad symptoms. Definitely supposed to stop you from being hospitalized in most cases. Alright, well those are pretty, small-ass promises, okay? Small-ass benefit is kind of what I mean. You're telling me I gotta get vaccinated with this experimental drug, which, if you know anything about history, they've really effed some people up before. Sometimes on purpose, sometimes on accident. Nonetheless, they've effed people up before. So, we should have a proper fear of big pharma or just the pharmaceutical industry or medical community in general. They're not miracle workers. Love doctors, love nurses, don't get me wrong. Do a great thing. However, the way that they're trained is pretty scary. We tend to outsource our thinking to these people in lab coats, which is pretty dangerous, given that they're just, they put their pants on the same way you do every single day. So, how the hell are they not going to make mistakes, right? They will. Plenty of news reports out there on this subject. I mean, one just broke from Project Veritas, about child vaccines. There's an initiative to get children vaccinated, and they show, hidden camera footage of these nurses being completely lost, not knowing how to mix the vaccine, giving the wrong vaccine, the adult vaccine, to the children, and then just saying oopsie, right? Calling their supervisor and then saying, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? All right, maybe that was a one-time thing. Probably not. The incompetence, though, on display should give you pause when trusting the medical community in general, especially with something like an experimental vaccine. We hope they got it right, for sure, but they didn't, and we know they didn't. Just look at your, anecdotal situation as is. You know somebody who's had COVID. You probably know if they're vaccinated or not. Tends to be a topic of conversation nowadays. Do you know anybody who's been vaccinated, got COVID? You probably do. Do you know anybody who's been unvaccinated and gotten COVID? Probably. Fun fact, they're generally the same story. I doubt you're going to be able to point to 2 or 3 anecdotal situations that are going to point to, like, oh, the unvaccinated folks, they got real sick and they almost died, or they did die, and then the vaccinated folks, well, they got a little cold and then they were fine. Probably not. It's probably like not conclusive, meaning some got sick, some didn't get sick, some got it bad, some didn't. So what does that tell you? It's inconclusive. So you're gonna say we have to get these safe and effective vaccines, like, to the detriment of your life, meaning, like, I'm gonna lose my job, 17 years of service, right? I'm gonna lose my job with the Army because I'm not gonna get this experimental vaccine, which, mind you, has come under fire for lying to the public at large, for deleting vaccine injuries, right? Like, there was a girl that got completely paralyzed, like, head to toe kind of paralyzed. She needs a feeding tube, right? They wrote it down that she had a stomach ache, and then they excluded her from the study, right? So that's pretty gross and wrong. And mind you, this isn't just a one-time deal. Like, they've paid billions and billions and billions of dollars over the years, decades, for lying their asses off to you and me. Those are the people that we get our vaccines from. Those are the people that we're trusting, the folks in lab coats that would never do anything wrong, right? The ones that are neutral, of course, right? They don't get a paycheck, right? Except that they do. And those paychecks are paid by grants that come from certain bodies of government, right?